Morning, everybody. How you doing? Finishing up my oatmeal, my coffee. Oatmeal, it's very good for you. Steel cut, no sugar, some dried frozen berries. Don't get the dried, not frozen berries, because they usually put sugar and like trans fats and coloring and all sorts of shit in there. So just frozen berries, slivered almonds, a little cinnamon. Perfect. It's good for you. Hey Jason, I'm a 25-year-old man who's very comfortable in my own skin. Good. The gay self-realization came fairly early, at about 12 years of age. I accepted it well with no internal torment of any dire consequences. I've always been a studious person, and for some reason I put a negative aspect on anything social in favor of more materialist things like good grades and a good career prospect. I have/had many acquaintances, few truly close friends, where I simply played the game for just to get by or get something important out of the relationship. That's not such a great thing. I think this is the reason that I missed a lot of milestones that other people have experienced much earlier in life. Got no boyfriend, no sex, not even a first kiss. How important is it to hit some of these social milestones to feel like an adult? I see my peers falling into the typical suburban young couple groups, and there's this sense of graduation from this mentality of joie de vivre. I love it when people use French because it allows me to actually use my real French accent, which is really fun. You know what I really love is when I'm speaking to somebody who's like either from Quebec or from France or something like that, and I'll just toss in like joie de vivre or raison d'être or something like that, and their eyes kind of bug out and they're like, wait a minute, you pronounced that properly. And I probably am not really, because I'm still using my fake American accent now, but and then they'll start speaking to me in French, and then I'll start speaking to them in French, and then people sort of stand back and go, okay, when did Jason learn how to speak French? I don't speak French very well. À la matin, je vous porte le pantalon sur ma plancher. That kind of thing. That used to be my best pickup line in Montreal when I was in college. Look that up. Where was I? Oh yeah. Life to me never had that feeling of enjoyment. Everything has been a set of goals that needed to be checked off, but somewhere along the line, I've lost any idea of what would constitute a personality. Let me explain to you the difference between American and Canadian beer commercials. Just follow me on this, it actually makes sense. Okay, so American beer commercials, and they're not like this so much anymore, but it used to be that American beer commercials were all about a whole bunch of sweaty, filthy, dirty men all riding up in this, and they'd be like working on a chain gang, well, not a chain gang, but they would be working on like, you know, a road, or they would be, you know, cutting down trees, or I don't know, something like the construction of some sort, and they get all dirty under the fingernails, and then finally at the end of the commercials, it's Miller time, and they crack open the thing, and the beer, you know, like the commercial is all about how hard you have to work for this, you know, sort of reward product. Canadian beer commercials are all about hedonism, and nobody works at all, and it's basically just a whole bunch of hot people running around in bathing suits with a tub of beer up in cottage country. And those the differences between the two, because for whatever reason, Canadians tend to be a little bit more hedonistic, or so I'm told. Apparently, we get laid more too. I don't know quite why that is. But anyway, how this ties into the whole thing is you need to find a balance in your life. And it's a little bit harder for gay men to do this. You see, straight people, they have a whole, for their entire lives, everything is all planned out. And I mean, and you know this, like, straight kids grow up being told, well, when you're married, you know, and everything's all planned for them, right? Like, they grow up, and then they, you know, they start dating, and, you know, you hit about 25, and it's time to get married, because, you know, TikTok, and then they get married, and it's this big, huge, gigantic to-do where they spend tens of thousands of dollars on big, huge weddings, and it's the most important day in their life, and then it's kind of downhill from there, which always sucks, right? And this is why I think straight people's divorce rate is so high, is because they're told the most important day of your life is that wedding, and when it's not actually that great, they kind of think, oh, maybe I fucked this one up, and then they get divorced and try to do it again. But maybe I'm getting a little off topic and a little political and a little heterophobic. Sue me. Okay, and then then you have your baby, and then you get the house out in the suburbs and the minivan, and you join the PTA, and like their whole lives are kind of planned out for them. Well, with gay people, we realize very early on that none of those rules pertain to us. We're not allowed to get married. We're not necessarily going to have children unless we really jump through some hoops to get them. We're not necessarily wanted out in the suburbs. And when you're just a gay couple with two, adults and no kids, maybe a couple of dogs, you don't need a 3-bedroom house out in the suburbs, surrounded by a whole bunch of straight people who are just going to stare at you strangely anyway. So we tend to just realize that all of those rules, they don't really pertain to us. And therefore, we don't really have the same milestones. We don't have those socially accepted and socially expected. That was really difficult to say with my expected. You try saying that a whole bunch of times fast, and then realize, because I get paralyzed. I can't. My whole face doesn't move. We don't have those expectations, and from social pressure from our parents or from our co-workers or even from other people. So we tend to have to prod our own selves in the ass to kind of move forward. And sometimes it leads to that sort of gay Peter Pan thing where you get the 45-year-old guy who's covered in tattoos and still hanging out at the dance clubs at 3 a.m. Okay, well I don't do that. But you know what I'm saying. Like you get those guys. You know how you go to the gay bars sometimes, especially the gay young bars. Like if you're from West Hollywood, go check out Rage, which a lot of us call Underage because the place is just filled with 19-year-olds with fake IDs. And take a look around the edges, and you'll see those guys that are like in their mid-40s. And they're all soft, and they're sitting there drinking their beer, and they're wearing fashions from 15 years ago, and they look all tragic, and they're trying to dance to the new Lady Gaga song, and they can't do it, and they don't know the words, and it's sort of like when Oprah's trying to sing along with the Bee Gees or something like that. She doesn't know any of the words, that kind of thing. And that's don't be that guy, but also don't be that guy who spends his entire life working for a particular goal and never actually making it to Miller time. Gay guys sometimes need to force themselves to do one or the other. Some gay guys need to force themselves to actually get some goals, to actually get some direction. I know that when I was in my early 30s, I was working a really going nowhere job because it was just kind of easy. And that was, one day I just kind of woke up and went, my bookcase is fucking milk cartons, and I still have my, Star Wars toys and my Harry Potter stuff and my, collection of Batman VHS, and I'm buying out, I'm that guy. And that was when I, finally got off of my ass and started, pursuing a real career, which ended me up here. A whole lot happier, and I still do have, comic books and Harry Potter toys. But, because there's that balance where you do have that thing. And then you get the gay guys who they're so focused on work and stuff because they realize that those social expectations that their straight friends and family members have, they don't pertain to them, right? So they forget to stop working, and it's never Miller time. And it sounds like that's your problem. My suggestion is force yourself to figure out what it is that you would like to be doing. And I think this is something that just about anybody can do. Decide what kind of person you want to be. And start intentionally forcing some of those changes on yourself. You want to be the kind of guy that, has a really cool hobby. Well, go figure out how to get that hobby. Go figure out how to, learn how to ride the motorcycle or play baseball or shuffleboard or whatever. I don't know. Start doing those things. We need to kind of force ourselves to do them. when you do that, you wind up meeting guys that have the same interests that you do, and the whole boyfriend and social thing kind of manifests itself. Now, you don't say here whether you have straight or gay friends, but from the sound of it, most of your friends probably are, straight. So maybe hang out with some more gay men your age. It's worth a try anyway. I can't remember exactly. Oh yeah. No, okay. So the point is with all of this is just sometimes you do need to kind of step back and go, oh shit, I have never rewarded myself with an actual life because I've been spending so much time working towards a goal. And then there's other times where you realize that I've spent so much time rewarding myself that I, forgot to get a life. I forgot to get some direction. I forgot to get some goals. It's harder for gay guys because of the reasons that I mentioned earlier. And please don't make me say that expectations... eat oatmeal. And keep asking the question.